Hi there, lovelies. Welcome to another episode. I am so excited for today's special guest, Bridget Zeitlin, who is a nutritionist and a dietitian, and who's going to hook us up today with tips and hacks and all kinds of information on having a very healthy lifestyle so that we could support ourselves in creating the life that we want and have the longevity and vitality that we desire to support the life that we want to create. We cover a lot of different topics around nutrition and wellness. And she's also going to share the top trend for 2024. Stay tuned. You're in for a treat. Hello and welcome. Today, I'm so excited to have Bridget Zeitlin with us. Bridget Zeitlin is a celebrated women's nutrition coach, registered dietitian, and media personality. She has worked with hundreds of women and has become the go-to nutrition expert for women who want to lose weight and feel great in their bodies. Women flock to Bridget for her renowned expertise in creating a highly personalized and practical nutrition approach for her clients. Bridget has a master's in public health nutrition and is a certified dietitian, nutritionist in New York City, supporting patients in the clinical setting at Mount Sinai Medical Center before founding her private practice, VC Nutrition. She is frequently requested to consult for Tiffany & Co., Ferragamo, Scott and Loa, and Fried Frank on health and wellness in the workplace. And her expertise has been celebrated and featured in over 20 plus nutrition press outlets, including Vogue, Women's Health, Well and Good, and Self, to name a few. So here we have Bridget, who's going to bring us amazing tips on nutrition for being super healthy and to look our best. Welcome, Bridget. How are you?
I'm great, Emma. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you. Thank you for that introduction.
Of course. I'm super excited about this topic, and I want to know all of the tips that you have for us today. But first tell us a little bit about how you started with nutrition. Like, what interested you? How did you start your career in this? Was it by
Yeah.
accident? Were you always interested?
Great question. Actually, I was not always interested. So I went to college. I went to college in at Lehigh University in Pennsylvania.
Mm.
And like every college student, I gained weight. And when I graduated and I moved into Manhattan, I started to see a dietitian to help me lose weight. And she put me on a calorie count.
Mm.
And 100% it worked. I counted my calories, I lost the weight. But I didn't feel great. I was obsessed with numbers. I found myself on like a Saturday night, like not going out to dinner with my girlfriends and only meeting them at the bar afterwards for drinks because I didn't have enough calories left in my day to like eat out and drink my alcohol at the same time. While I look great, I don't feel great. This is not sustainable. I can't make this work for the rest of my life. So I started learning more about nutrition on my own, like you, right? Nerding out on nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And while that was happening, my maternal grandmother passed away from complications of her type 2 diabetes. And mainly because when she was diagnosed, her doctors told her, okay, you have to give up all the foods you love and you have to eat this other way now. And
Right.
she was like, F that. I'm not doing that. I'm not giving up the foods that I love. So, and I thought to myself, okay, so here I am with my experience with this dietitian, counting calories, doing all the things I'm supposed to do, but not feeling great. Here was my grandmother not doing any of the things she was supposed to do, but like loving life. And I was like, there has to be a middle ground. There has to be a way for people to eat the foods they love, learn how to incorporate the foods they love while also taking really good care of their health and feeling really good in their bodies at the same time. So I
Yes.
decided that will be me. I will fill that gap. So I decided to go back to school to get my master's in public health nutrition, to become a registered dietitian, and to help people. And at this point in my career, I exclusively work with women. So to help women combine taking care of themselves with enjoying their lifestyle, with enjoying the foods that they love. And now I've had my own practice doing that for 8 years. And it's been an incredible, incredible dream come true for me.
Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. I love it. And I love that you combine the self-care aspect into that. Like you're defining
Absolutely.
nutrition as part of the self-care. I'm all
Absolutely.
about that. That's one of the biggest thing that I try to teach my clients. If we're not good with ourselves, how are we good with our partner or with anybody else, right? And
Absolutely.
so nutrition fuels us, right? So I think
Absolutely.
that's more basic than that.
Totally. I think the way we eat is 100% part of our self-care routine.
Yes, I love that so much. We could definitely go more a little bit more into what that looks like for the self-care and the proper nutrition. But so the first question that I have for you is, and you kind of alluded to it that you were doing it in your grandmother's story. What is the wrong way of eating and what are the wrong foods for not being healthy?
Yeah, totally. So I think what trips a lot of people up, what like what most women are doing wrong, if we will, when it comes to weight loss, is they're hyper focused on what they're taking out, what they're
Mm,
eliminating from their diet. They're not eating carbs. They've gave up bananas or fruit. They're no longer eating dairy. They're not eating gluten. They're not eating this. They're not eating that. But when it comes to your nutrition and your health and your waistline, it's really, really all about what you're adding in, right? Not what we're taking out, but what are we putting into your life? What are we putting into your day? If you're, let's say if you're giving up, any food that you're giving up, it's only as beneficial for you as the food you're replacing it with,
mm,
right? So the foods that you're making more space for, the foods you're eating more of are what matters versus what you're eating less of, what we're including into our diet, what we're putting into our bodies. And I think when women first reach out to me to work together one on one, they're frequently like, no, but I don't understand. I don't understand why the scale isn't coming off. I gave up the carbs. I haven't had a bagel in years and this, and I'm not eating this and I don't eat that, but the scale isn't budging. And I'm like, great. What are we eating? Right?
you
What are you putting in?
What a good point, because half the time, whenever I'm air quotes watching more or being more mindful in my way,
Mhm.
because I'm sure that after a conversation, I'm gonna be like, maybe not so good. But during those times, potentially the thought is like, well, can't eat this, can't eat that, can't eat that. They're taking out the other thing and the other thing and the other thing. It's like, well, what the heck am I eating? Like what
Right.
can I eat? So I love the way that you're setting this up. And it's not about all the things that you're taking out, but it's more about like what you're putting in instead.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Like,
Right.
what is on your plate? What is getting into your body? That's
Right.
what matters so much more. So, so,
Right.
so much more.
Very good. Lovely. Well, and so where do you want to go from here? Do you want to describe what some of those things should be? Or I know that one of the things that people worry about is, okay, so when I eat these things, I get bloated, or where's my gut health? And I just go right ahead. Like, what is the best way to set ourselves up to have
Yeah.
good food experience?
Absolutely. That's a great question. I would say if bloat and gut health is something you're interested in, or weight loss is something you're focusing on, a good place to start for both of these two things is a food journal, to keep a food journal. And not something where you have to obsess and like weigh everything and write it all down. None of that. But just a journal of like what time it is, what day it is, and what you're eating for breakfast, what you're eating for lunch, what you're eating for a snack if you're having a snack, what you're eating for dinner. And this will help you in multiple ways. But let's say we're talking about bloat. If you're also writing down how you feel
Mm,
after that meal or throughout the day, you'll be able to start to notice a pattern. Like when you eat legumes, right? Maybe you're feeling bloated. When you have dairy, maybe you're feeling bloated. It's really easy to, if we're keeping it all in our head, right? If you're not writing things down on paper, it's really easy to think like everything makes me bloated. Every time I eat, I get bloated.
right.
Okay. And maybe that's true. But you
Mm,
might notice some really, really specific patterns once we take it out of our head and put it down on paper. You might notice, actually, I didn't realize that almost every meal I have has like cheese or yogurt or like has a dairy in it, and maybe that's the common denominator. So it's not every time I eat, it's just that I eat more cheese than I thought I did,
right.
right? Or again, maybe it's like legumes. So you'll notice patterns and you'll start to piece together what your body's trying to tell you when it is feeling bloated. So I think a food journal to understand your gut health and your bloat is super, super important and can work like wonders. And then on the flip side, if weight loss is something you're focusing on, either in addition to gut health or totally separately, a food journal will also show you exactly what you are putting in,
Mm.
right? What are you filling those meals with, right? So, and I don't want you to count the calories and tally that up. I don't want you to measure out everything or weigh things on a food scale. I literally just want you to write down the foods that are on your plate that are making it into your body. And you might notice, yeah, I cut out all the carbs, but I haven't really added in any vegetables, any more vegetables than I usually was eating. Or actually, I don't have as much protein as I thought I was getting. Huh. Like you'll also start to notice patterns and what you're filling your meals with. And so I think for both, for like from a habit standpoint, um, we want to really, really understand our bodies. We want to understand our own personal nutrition, even if two people have the same goal. They are different humans. They have different lives. They have different stressors. They respond to stress differently. They have different, work-life balance. So you're going to need different things, even if your goal is technically the same. So really understanding your personal nutrition needs is crucial and paramount for all the work that I do with my clients. And a food journal is a really, really easy way for you to do it at home and start to put some puzzle pieces together on your own.
Perfect. So that will allow you to see the patterns of the foods and what might be getting you, what might not be getting you,
Yeah,
something that you might not have recognized, but also if you're missing out on certain food groups or certain nutritional things that might be affecting you in different ways. Perfect.
definitely.
That makes
Exactly.
Yeah, very
Exactly.
good. Very good. So from here then, what are some of the things that you would suggest for women to do that want to lose weight, or who are more concerned about health and just general well-being and energy and staying healthy and looking great and living
Yeah.
until 120, like I like to say?
I love it. I love 120. I'm here for it. I would say like there are a few things. I think overall I walk my clients through six pillars of health. But one thing that I want to say is as a nutritionist, as a dietitian, nutrition and food are is my first love. And it is a big, big piece of the puzzle when it comes to our longevity, when it comes to our energy, when it comes to our mental cognition and brain health, when it comes to our physical health and our weight and our gut, right? Food is a crucial, crucial piece. It's a big, juicy chunk of that puzzle.
Yeah.
But it's still at the end of the day, just one piece of the puzzle, right? So when it comes to all of those things are your total health. What we want to look at is how are you managing stress?
Mm,
What types of stress outlets do you have, right? Is it movement? Is it therapy? Is it talking to your girlfriends? Is it, like a standing date night with your partner? Like what are ways that you are managing your stress? Because a lot of times too, people either stress eat or they stress restrict their
mm,
food,
mhm.
neither of which serves you well, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. So really understanding stress management and how we can relieve some of the stress. Something else that's really crucial for our health is staying hydrated, right? Drinking water. And on that, I'm going to take a sip. We'll do a little water cheers.
Wait until you see mine.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I have that same thing with the crystals.
Yes, isn't this awesome?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it.
Mhm.
My best friend bought it for me. I am obsessed with it. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that we have that. So, right. So making sure you're drinking water, you're staying really well hydrated. And if you can drink sparkling water, you can drink still water, you can drink hot tea, iced tea, as long as
Mm,
it's unsweetened.
yep.
Any way that you can get in some more hydration is huge. And then another thing that I think people overlook a little bit, but has a huge, huge impact, both in the way we eat, in our energy, in our mental health, are our sleep habits, getting really good quality sleep. So enough sleep, right? So like that 7+ hours, but also quality sleep, uninterrupted sleep, sleep where you're staying asleep through the night.
Yep.
That's really, really important as well. And there are certain foods and routines that we can get into that promote better quality sleep, but really focusing on, kind of being a little bit of like a warrior with your time, with your sleep time, making sure that you get into bed at a certain time every night, that you're waking up consistently around the same time in the morning, and that you're giving yourself, you're winding down early enough so that by the time you get into bed, it's easier for you to fall asleep. You're not scrolling till the very last minute.
Right.
You've put your screens away. Um, and maybe you also have a little bit of an evening routine that includes some, chamomile tea or some essential oils like in a bath or in a shower that like help calm you down. So I
Mhm.
think I think when it comes to our overall health and well-being and longevity, we have to look at all of the factors of health. And again, food is one, and it's a fun one to talk about, but it's not the only one. So really taking a big picture, looking at like your whole person and taking a big picture approach to your well-being, I think is really
Oh,
crucial.
that's so good. Yeah, very holistic. So that's interesting that you mentioned that different foods affect sleep.
Yeah.
You're probably like, that's not a no-brainer, like, duh.
No, no, no. I think a lot of people don't realize that food affects everything.
I mean, I know that
It
yes.
affects
So I know that
everything.
the timing of food at night is significant, but well, yeah, also the foods, right? So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about that. Like what kinds of
Absolutely.
food.
Absolutely. So something that's really beneficial, and you mentioned the timing at night. So it's helpful to give your bodies enough time to fully digest before you
Mhm,
lie down and get into bed. And so that's going to be different for everybody. Everyone's metabolism, runs at a different pace. But
mhm,
generally speaking, you want to have your last bite, whether that's dessert or the end of your meal, right? The last bite of food in your mouth, somewhere between 2 and 3 hours before you get into bed, before you lie down. It doesn't include drinking water or, unsweetened tea. You can have that as well, up until you lie down. But
mhm.
your last bite. Um, Something else to really think about too is that when it comes to sleep, we want to if we are someone who drinks alcohol, making sure that we're done drinking alcohol at least 2 hours before we're getting into bed.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe not having that nightcap.
Well, it's the same thing, right? Because that has the sugar, so it makes sense. Plus
So
the alcohol.
it's the alcohol. It's really the alcohol. It's a toxin, and so what your body's doing, and the whole thing with like the food too. What's really happening is your body has to process and break down the food that you've just ingested. And
Right.
so, but when we go to sleep, everything stops. So you're sitting with like this food inside your stomach. If you've eaten, let's say, 20 minutes before you got into bed, or just an hour before you got into bed, your body isn't digesting it. So you're not getting good quality sleep because your body's kind of fighting with itself like, do I digest or do I sleep? Do I digest or do I sleep? And it goes back and forth, and you're not getting quality sleep.
Wow.
Versus if you're done digesting, right, and then you get into bed, your body's like, cool, I only have one job. My
Right.
only job is to restore.
Right.
So that's one of the main reasons why we want to be done eating before we get, 2 to 3 hours before we get into bed. And the way alcohol affects your liver, it's the same thing. Do I detox or do I sleep? Do I detox or do I sleep? And the truth is, detoxing is more important for your body. Getting the toxins out of your body is more important. So it will focus on that and it will disturb your sleep.
Right.
But foods that we want to incorporate. So like into that dinner meal, a really, really quality carbohydrate is fabulous. So quinoa, brown rice, sweet potato, butternut squash. These are really, really great foods to add into the mix when we're, into our dinner. That's fabulous. And also some potassium. So like dark leafy greens. You can have, cooked dark leafy greens, the kale, the spinach. That's also a really nice base to include. And then you want a really satiating protein. It could be a bean-based protein like a legume. Legumes are super high in magnesium. Magnesium is a nutrient that helps our bodies relax and reduces anxiety, which is fabulous. So that's a really great protein to add in. Or you can add in a fish like salmon or tuna that are really high in omega 3s because the Omega-3s are heart healthy fats that we know and talk about and everybody loves. But what they do is that they fight inflammation, right? So they're also calming our body from like the inside out. So those are really good nutrients to work into our dinner meal. And you could have these nutrients throughout the entire day, but particularly they're beneficial to promote quality sleep at dinner.
Very nice. So not heavy proteins,
So it has nothing to do with heaviness and everything to do, like, I don't know what a heavy protein would be.
like a steak.
So, right. So it has nothing to do with with heaviness and everything to do with the type of nutrient in addition to the protein that you're getting in. Right. So beans have protein, salmon has protein, but what I highlighted in the beans is the magnesium.
Right.
Right. And what I highlighted in the salmon were the omega-3s. So
Right.
it's really the additional things. Like, yes, you want a protein, but what other nutrients are
Right.
coming in? What other
Right.
nutrients? Yeah.
Love it. Okay. Very good. So walk us through a good eating day. And I use good lightly, like a nutritious eating day.
Um, Yeah, so that's really difficult because everyone's different. So there are many, 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 many ways
Sure.
for the day to be, like a nutrient dense, nourishing day for somebody. So what I would say, honestly, what we're looking for is to make sure that every time you eat, you have a good source of fiber on that plate and a good source of protein. So fiber, we find fiber in three things. We find it in whole grains, we find it in vegetables, and we find it in fruit.
Mm.
So making sure you have one of those three things at breakfast, at lunch, at snack, at dinner, great. And then couple it with a really good protein. And again, at breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. Um, which ones are going to be dependent on you and your eating habits and your food preferences and your dietary restrictions, right? If you're a vegan, if you're a vegetarian, so, if you keep kosher, all those things are going to look a little bit different. But making sure that you have at least the fiber and a protein every single meal, you're in great shape. And then eating consistently throughout the day, making sure that you're eating breakfast, aiming to eat breakfast within an hour of waking up would be great. And then from there, making sure you're eating lunch maybe 3 to 4 hours after that. And then you have an afternoon snack like 3 to 4 hours after that. And then you have dinner 3 to 4 hours after that. Really, really structuring your day around what you're putting in and taking the time to eat. So, because we cannot, if, I'm a big believer in getting our nutrition from food, right? There's absolutely a place for supplements, but supplements second, food first.
Mhm.
But we cannot possibly get enough nutrition from food if we're not eating consistently throughout the day. We have, right? Every meal is an opportunity to take really good care of yourself, every single meal. And if you're skipping that meal, you're skipping an opportunity to take care of yourself.
Hmm.
So I think a really good day, food wise, means eating consistently throughout the day. And it means making sure that each meal has a good fiber and a good protein.
So that's interesting because there's all kinds of information out there about spiking your insulin, your sugars, and becoming insulin resistant, and all these different things where, if you're constantly eating, you're constantly spiking your sugar, and then
Mm.
right, you're
Well,
overworking.
so our sugar goes up literally every time we eat, correct? But that means every time you eat a piece of salmon, your sugar is going up. Every time you eat a piece of kale, your sugar is going up. Our
Mhm.
sugar is meant to go up. That's why we have a hormone called insulin that is meant to to process it and move it through our body, in an efficient way. Food is energy. Our bodies need energy, right? A calorie is literally a measurement of energy. We are supposed to have energy to move through the day. So when it comes to your sugar spiking, if you are not a diabetic, if you are an otherwise healthy person, your body is processing your sugar in a normal, healthy way. If you are a diabetic, and and you do have insulin resistance, or you are a woman suffering with PCOS and you do have insulin resistance, that's a different dietary approach. You would still, the science is still very much on the side of eating consistently throughout the day. Very much so. What you're eating matters, right? What you're actually eating matters, but eating consistently throughout the day, honestly, is what kind of keeps your sugar more stable versus when we don't eat, our blood sugar goes down, and then we do eat, even no matter what we're eating, our blood sugar spikes. And then
Mhm.
we don't eat for a while and our blood sugar dips. And the high peaks and valleys are what screw with our blood sugar and our insulin tremendously. Keeping our blood sugar more even like this, right? 'Cause it's going to go up when you eat, but it's going to even out consistently too if you're having a good source of fiber. So this is actually much healthier for you than not eating, eating, not eating, eating.
Hmm, interesting. So what's your take on fasting?
So for women, I do not believe fasting is the right approach. It screws with our hormones drastically. So if you are a woman who is thinking about fertility or you are peri or postmenopausal, right? We want to eat in a way that nourishes our hormones, doesn't starve our hormones. So I do not believe in intermittent fasting at all. The science really for women isn't there. I do think it's a good idea to, eat within a certain time period throughout the day. So like if breakfast, let's say, is at 8 a.m., it'd be great to be done with dinner by 8 p.m., right? But and then you have 12 hours at night where you're not eating, right? We're not eating from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Ideally, 7 or 8 of those hours you're sleeping. So human beings have a natural, like, if you will, time-based eating schedule normally because we're supposed to be sleeping at night. Um,
Well,
so
that in
really,
itself is a definition of intermittent fasting, like 12 to 13 hours. That's pretty much what you just said.
sure, but I think that referring to it as fasting versus sleeping, it can lead to a really unhealthy relationship with food.
Mm,
And in my experience, a lot of the work that I do with my clients is around creating healthy relationships with food, healthy language around food, which is why I don't refer to food as good or bad.
right.
That's right. And I think that talking to yourself about fasting, I don't know how I don't see much of a positive connotation with that, right? But I eat breakfast at 8, I am done with dinner by 8. That's great. You have a 12-hour eating window, and then at 8 p.m. you don't need any energy anymore, right? Because
Right.
so when it comes to eating, we want to think about what are we fueling up for the next 2 to 3 hours? Because whatever you're eating now is going to keep you energized for the next 2 to 3 hours. So what do we need to be energized for? At
Mm,
8 o'clock at night, the next 2 to 3 hours, right? That's 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Ideally, I'm in bed. I'm sleeping. I don't need energy for that,
right.
right? So really, really focusing on why am I eating? The whole point of eating, yes, we want to enjoy food, but what our bodies need energy. So thinking about like, well, no, of course I'm not eating after 8 o'clock at night. I don't need energy at 10 p.m.
Right.
Right? So unless you work at night, and then of course your schedule is going to look different and be different, and you will need to eat at that time because you work the overnight shift. You're a nurse, working the overnight shift at a hospital or any other overnight shift. But I think the way we talk to ourselves about food is really, really important.
Love it.
Yeah.
What are some other things that you notice that people say or do that are signs of not having a good relationship with food?
Yeah, I think saying things like, "Oh, I deserve this. I was really good today. I deserve this." And having ice cream or having cake,
Mm,
or having the French fries, or "Oh, I ate so well all week. I get to have this now," and indulging in something. Or, "Oh, today I ate like crap anyway, so like this doesn't matter. I'm just going to eat this." Right? I'm
mm,
just going to have the extra French fries or ice cream, or again, what if you prefer savory or sweet, your
yeah.
call. Those are all your language around food is what is a key sign of your relationship with food. If you're demonizing food, if you're attaching morality to certain foods, that's something to really pay attention to. Also, how you talk to yourself about food. is something to pay attention to. I was really bad today. I had pizza. I was really bad today. I had ice cream. No,
Mhm.
you are only bad or good based on how you treat other people. You are not bad or good based on
I
what you
love that. Good for
eat today.
you.
So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, so I think it's really, really important to pay attention to how you talk about food and how you talk about yourself based on how you've eaten.
What are some of the things that you recommend that people eat depending on what they eat?
Yeah, I think a good a golden rule could be to no matter what your current like if you are looking to make changes, right? Like if you have specific health goals, if you're looking for more energy, if you're looking to lose weight, if you're happy and things are good, keep on keeping on, right? If you're looking to make shifts and changes, something you can think about doing is like doubling up your veggie intake. Whatever your veggie intake is right now, double it. And a good way you can know that you're doing it is if you keep a food journal, you'll be able to like track and see that you're doing that. And so doubling up your veggie intake. I would also say when it comes to water, making sure that you're drinking at least 50% of your body weight in ounces of water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, your goal, your personalized goal is 100 ounces of water. And again, that could be sparkling, unsweetened, sparkling, unflavored, or flat. And something to do as well is to make sure you're adding in, I would say, quality protein, so not the processed proteins, quality fat, olive oil, avocado, nuts, seeds. Fat is our friend. Fat adds flavor and fat fills us up. Fat is our friend. And I would say, generally speaking, we always want to stay away from foods that are packaged as fat free or low in fat, because really what that means is high in salt, high in sugar. So we always want like the full fat, regular, normal version of the food.
Right.
And then having a quality carb. So what does that mean? A quality carb is like a whole grain. So the brown rice or the quinoa or the amaranth, the whole wheat piece of bread, the sweet potato or the baked potato, the butternut squash, right? Like a really good quality carb. And making sure that you're eating the rainbow when it comes to your produce. Where you're eating the greens and the reds and the purples and the blues, right? The oranges. You're eating in my world, we say eat the rainbow, because it reminds clients to like make sure you're having a variety of produce and colors on your plate. So
That's
that's
pretty.
that's what I would say. Like there and 1 ounce of dark chocolate just is good for the soul. For the soul, include that.
Can't disagree with that. Anything for balancing hormones.
So with hormones, again, like
And
where
I know
you are in your life cycle
I
matters.
Europe.
Generally speaking, we want to add in. So I know I said eat the rainbow, definitely eat the rainbow. Double down on the reds and the greens.
Mm,
So dark leafy greens and then like red bell peppers, tomatoes, strawberries, really double down on raspberries, I said tomatoes already, sweet potatoes, double down on the reds and the greens for sure. And also add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground flax seed every day. Total game changer. Total game changer. Something else
that's great feedback.
yeah. Something else to consider too is aiming for at least 2 out of your 3 meals a day to have a plant-based protein, not versus an animal-based protein.
Mm.
So making sure that you're doing tofu or edamame or chickpeas or hummus or lentils, or any bean, really making sure that you're adding in plant-based proteins because legumes are crucial for hormone health for sure.
What's the logic behind the green and the red?
Different makeup of vitamins and minerals, right? So all of our produce get their different colors based on the different ratios of vitamins and minerals that has, right? That's what makes an eggplant purple and a blueberry blue and a tomato red. So you are what you're getting from the reds, something that's really crucial and high from the reds is vitamin A. And that's very, very beneficial beneficial and important, and something you're getting from the greens is our B vitamins, like folate, niacin, riboflavin. So making sure you're getting those vitamins and also from the reds, you're getting a good amount of vitamin C, and from the greens, you're getting a good amount of potassium. So the vitamins, the minerals, the specific combinations of them, science has shown are particularly beneficial for our ladies and our hormones.
Nice. I learned something more specific than I like it. I
Good.
like it.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Happy to
Yeah,
help.
totally. What else do you think would be interesting to the ladies who are considering having babies, who are
Mm.
post? I mean, the whole age, anything,
Yeah.
but they all
I
have
think
different needs.
something that's so crucial to think about, really, really is your stress and your stress management. If you're trying to get pregnant, right, that's a very stressful time. Your body changing during perimenopause, it can also be a really stressful time. It's a lot of, shifts going on. So really focusing on our stress hormone cortisol, which men have too, obviously, but it plays a big role in how our hormones dictate. So all hormones, all of them work on kind of like a seesaw. So when one is up, others are down, and when it flips, it flips. So as our cortisol is really high, other more nourishing hormones are down, right? Like melatonin, our sleep hormone, is down, and dopamine, serotonin, our feel-good hormones, they're down. So really, really figuring out a better balance for your stress. So right, is that talk therapy, is that meditation, is that gentle movement, like lots of time outside in nature, fresh air, is it a particular Pilates, yoga, cycling class that you love, a combination of all of the above, journaling, anything that really, really helps you to manage your stress better. It plays a huge, huge role in all of your hormones and in your well-being in a really deep, profound way.
Perfect. Yes, very, very nice. Very good. So I love how we're going back full circle to de-stressing, self-care, nourishing ourselves from the inside and out,
Yeah.
and balancing these hormones is a big thing. So being mindful of that self-care from all the different angles, right? So that we totally function as optimal as possible in all areas in our body,
Absolutely.
in what we want to do. I love that. So, Bridget, thank you so much. Any other thoughts, any other words of wisdom that you want to sprinkle in there for healthy lifestyle? I know that you have some trends coming up for 2024. What is that about?
So I think one thing to really understand and as women to give ourselves a little bit of grace
Yeah.
with is that what works for your best friend, your sister, your mother is not necessarily going to work for you. And
Yes.
that's okay. It's not supposed to. You are your very own special snowflake, right? We all are. So
Love that.
understanding that your diet, and when I say diet, I mean the foods that make up your life,
Mhm.
your diet should reflect the fact that you are your own special snowflake. So really, really understanding your personal nutrition needs, that is the queen, that is the key, that is like the main thing throughout the main underlying factor throughout everything. Understanding what is right and best for you and giving ourselves the grace like, okay, what works for my bestie isn't really going to work for me. So let me figure out what does work for
Yep.
me.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's the energy to see more of in 2024, right? I think it's so interesting that everyone wants to be their own special snowflake and be treated like their own special snowflake, except when it comes to their diet. When it comes to their diet, right? They want to do what J-Lo's doing. They want to do what Kim Kardashian's doing, what their best friend is doing, their mother, their sister, their cousin. Oh, no, girl. You are unique. You are beautiful and unique in who you are, and your diet should reflect the beautiful, unique human being that you are.
Oh, I love that. Very, very nice. Yes, we all want to be so special and unique, but yet we want to copy somebody else's diet. I love that. Awesome.
Exactly,
Lovely, lovely.
exactly.
Okay, so any other last words of wisdom?
No, that's it. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for having me. And if understanding your personal nutrition needs feels like you want some support in that, feel free to reach out to me. Or you could find any dietitian, reach out to, I think just making sure that if you are going to work with someone, they do have credentials, they are a dietitian, not just a nutritionist.
And I saw that you have an offer link. So talk a little
Absolutely.
bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a totally self-paced program. It's my wellness jumpstart. It's called Socially Fit, and it teaches you, it's self-paced because we are busy women on the go. We're juggling a lot of balls. We want something that works for you on your time. So it teaches you the nutrition tools and real life tips to help you live your healthiest life without sacrificing your social life, right? Without taking yourself out of that Saturday night dinner the way
Right.
I used to, right? With no restrictions, no dieting, no calorie counting, just figuring out how do I balance my healthy life with my really vibrant, fun social life.
Lovely. I love it. Definitely. So we'll have that link for our audience in the show
Great.
notes, along with your website and all your social media, so
Oh,
people could
yes.
find you if they want to work with you. So you're not only a nutritionist, but you're a dietitian. So people could get really hooked up. And thank you so much for all of the tips today. I have a few
Mm-mm.
nuggets. I was taking some rigorous notes for myself as well. So thank you so much for that.
Of course, I love it. This
For
was a
sure.
great conversation, Emma. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, and thank you. And for the listeners, I will see you at the next one. Bye.